Hey everybody, what's up? It is Dom here, back once again. We're talking Total War 3 Kingdoms. Now in particular, this last week we've learned that there's going to be a new game from CA Creative Assembly based around the same time period of the Three Kingdoms, whether it be Total War 3 Kingdoms 2 or an offshoot game, which I'm thinking maybe something particularly mobile or even something in the style of like Dynasty Warriors. But if they were to do a Total War 3 Kingdoms 2, let's talk about some of the things that I personally would think that'd be cool to have incorporated into them. Now, I don't have an insane amount of hours in Total War 3 Kingdoms. I clock in about 220 hours there. I'm a very casual player here. I've done a couple campaigns. I have finished some stuff off there, but I do own all the DLC, so I've pumped all of my faith into this game. Bought it when it first came out, dumped all the money on all the DLC full price because I really like this time period, and I'm more of a fan of Three Kingdoms than Total War games, I guess you would say, in that regard. But I've done the route here with Liu Zhang, Zhang Ju with the yellow turbans. I've done the Lu Bu campaign until he was no longer a thing, and more recently Sun Jian for some of the saves that I've saved on the last couple of months here to free up on my computer. But let's get into the first one, being Dynasty mode. I think this in particular was a mode that just was cool when it first came out, but got dropped pretty quickly in my opinion. You don't have any support for any of the DLC characters. Sadly, like no mods also have any support from what I've seen with this, but it seemed like a cool little fun mode to have your initial three group of guys. It is very much feels like the Liu Bei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei mode, where you just put those three together and you just start wrecking havoc everywhere. And it's pretty fun, honestly, like I said, to see like they level up in battle and all the stuff you can do there. But it kind of seemed like maybe they didn't know the direction they wanted to go in this mode, or it got quickly dropped. But it definitely should have had support for when you bought DLC for the Furious Wild, 8 Princes, I think Fate's Divided, they're all called there, for more characters. I don't see the non-Mon kingdom, any of the people there from the non-Mon tribes. I don't see anybody from the 8 Princes time period here in this, because that's definitely a big one there. I will praise the game there. I do like the variety in maps and kind of where we go around. That's one thing I was worried about, being just stuck in China and just in this initial region before we had the non-Mon area really expand, and like the jungle wars there on the maps. So if we go down here, go to custom battle. Also on the side, I have done a co-op campaign before, and it would be nice if, I know over time it's gotten a little bit better, but it still seems like it's very rough and can be a little unstable at points with the co-op campaigns, especially in the DLC ones there, which would be more enjoyable in my opinion to play, trying to keep Dongzhou around with Lu Bu. In one regard I had done with a buddy of mine. Keep in mind, I do have a couple mods on here, so you are seeing some characters that don't initially exist as unique characters, but that would be definitely one thing that should be expanded on. Whether they are fictitious characters a little bit, which you can enable or disable in a historical or romance mode, setting on or off there. I think that would be very interesting. I do like the breakdowns here with strategist and champion. What do you got? Vanguard, I think, and Sentinel. Those are all really cool things to see how they are broken down into those character builds essentially, and I would definitely like to see more of that. Maybe not more elaborate breakdowns and even more of those in the next game, but just an expansion on characters. I think the game does very well when it comes to the different pictures, and art style is definitely something that's heavily praised, and I think if they go into a second game, the art style is going to get even more massively improved on there. Let's talk about the also historical battles. There's not much here. There's a couple here. You get the big one, you get the Red Cliff, but that would be cool to see a couple more, honestly. So especially stuff to support the DLCs. Also, you can see like characters here, like Liu Meng definitely should have got a if you're gonna put him there with the Invasion of Jing province, probably should have got a unique character model there without needing a mod essentially. Let's talk about campaign mode, because that's going to be the big bulk where people play there. They have done some right stuff with the court system and pleasing the young emperor, kind of keeping him happy, and then declaring enemies of the Han in that regard with updates there. Map expansion would be nice, whether it be some stuff going on in Japan or up north. I think it talked about in Korea. That would be pretty cool. Ultimately, I would want to see more starting time periods. So let me see if I disable this lady speaking here for us. There we go. Keep in mind, I am playing, like I said, with some mods, so you get the all starting points and more starting factions, stuff that I hope would just be incorporated into the next game. I know initially starting off, if you were to throw all of these different characters at people, can be a little intimidating, but you do have the recommended characters here, but then you have unlocked ones here you can go into and play. Not all of them need to be unique with crazy unique features and exclusive abilities, but I'm very curious to see what they do, especially because people like Liu Yan and Liu Zhang got very tapped into recently, and that was a fun one to play in particular for me. I like the stuff they're doing with Lu Bu, kind of headhunting, going out there for different unique characters and seeing who could like take on and behead essentially. But going back here before I was interrupted by the lady speaking over me, it was a little hard to concentrate. More starting timelines here, because we go from 182 here, which is the Mandate of Heaven, which is the battle between the Han forces and the Yellow Turban Rebellion. That's a really fun game mode. I really wanted at the start of the game, and I was very happy to see when we did get that DLC. 190 here, which is the Rise of the Warlord, the basic one you get. It's pretty fun, just throws you right in there. Dong Zhuo is at the front of everything and just starts boiling, and everything gets crazy from just there. 194, I don't particularly feel like we needed too much. It is the Sun Ce DLC, and I'm a big fan of Sun Ce, so that was good for him in particular, but that's maybe about it. That was just a fun little side starting point. The 200 one's pretty great with Fates Divided, where we're just jumping in, gunning it. I should have said 194 also with Lu Bu also, if you want to just play as Lu Bu at the starting. 200 is a good one here, where you're just jumping in. Things are really kicking off here in the Three Kingdoms with Sun Ce, Cao Cao, even Liu Bei a little bit there. So they are pretty good there, but then you get this one random one in 291 with the 8 princes, which sadly it was their first big DLC, and it seemed massively unappealing, honestly. Whether it be just the lack of unique characters, like not even mid-game but long-term also, there's just not much appeal to continue a save, I feel like. And in particular, even though I had jumped and I got the DLC, I was excited for it, there's like no support as far as I could tell if you were to bring it from 200 to 291. Maybe that was just my save in particular, my game, but you never saw those 8 princes rise up or show up at all, which would have been nice, would have been interesting. But I guess if you're really following down the path of Sima and all these guys here, then there's not much really you can do if they aren't born into existence essentially in the other timelines. So definitely integration between if they were to do a later time period or an earlier time period. I don't know how much earlier they would do than 182, but I also don't know how much later they would do than 291 also. I guess they could go even later, but definitely more starting points within those in particular I think would be really neat. And last but not least, here in Total War 3 Kingdoms 2, what I want to see is just more of the romance of the 3 kingdoms, essentially. I want to see more interactions between the unique characters, especially as we add more unique characters. I think there's definitely a need for more female characters to add really into the aspect of the dynasty building there. More uniquity there with them, I feel like definitely could be touched on. You know, I love this little feature here with the duels. I think is one of the greatest things to happen to the Total War series. I haven't played any other newer Total War title. I guess what Troy. I don't think Troy had it in particular. I actually did play, but I guess Warhammer. There's a new one. I haven't actually played any of the Warhammer games, so tell me how you guys enjoy those in particular. I know there's a big following there, but you know, even integrations from the newer games we could see that you guys might be keen to. But I want to see more events that actually matter, more events that allow for decisions of, you know, a big change in the spotlight there. I have seen some big changes, but thankfully they're because of mod events added in there, and they're overhauls where you can see, you know, something crazy like Zhang Fei defects to Wu, or Lu Bu completely defects and goes with Cao Cao, or some, you know, and then betrays him ultimately again. So there's definitely stuff like that, you know, but for the most part, a lot of things I really enjoy about the game. I don't think it deserved to be review bombed to hell. You know, maybe there were some broken promises along the way. I wasn't really following up too much of the news there, but I can definitely see why people would be mad. I in particular, I'm glad with what I have right now. I'm glad we have the modding community. I think that's the biggest strong suit of the community in particular, and I think they'll fill in some of the gaps. Sadly, I don't think they've are able to tap into more time periods as starting. Maybe they are, but definitely that'd be cool there to kind of hold us over until Creative Assembly is able to push out a Total War 3 Kingdoms 2. But like I said, it could be something completely different. It could be like a Dynasty Warriors-esque game, because they've already set on the table these unique characters that they could kind of build their own little universe like that around if they didn't want to use the Total War style there. Rest in peace Zhang Fei, by the way. He just lost his leg there. He's gone. But yeah, also duels. I really am curious to see how they would improve on duels there, whether it be the motion capture or more you know, I guess not balancing, but shifting and what could turn the tide of a battle there. But just all the small little things that this game does right makes it seem massive also. But let me see what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Are you guys happy they're making a new one? Are you guys sad? You mad? How you guys feeling out there? And ultimately, tell me what you guys want to see also, and what kind of bounce back ideas, and talk about it at later point too. So as always, thank you guys for sitting around listening to me talk and whatnot. Leave a like, all that good stuff. Share with Miriam, and peace out, everybody. Till next time.